I'm Christian Gasca. Nice to meet everyone here on Julian and Chris's podcast.
Where You At podcast.
Is the Where You At podcast.
The Where You At podcast. Nice to meet everybody on the Where You At podcast. Pleasure to be hosted here by these two fellows.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. And where are we at? Where are we at right now?
Right now, we're in the beautiful heart of Miami, Coral Gables, right by MIA. Can't tell you my address because you'll find me. But yeah, we're here in the beautiful South Florida. A little bit about myself. I was born and raised here down in Coconut Grove. My family's Colombian and Venezuelan background. So you know what that brings.
You're nuts.
I mean, I guess so. I mean, every Latino culture has its ups and downs, pros and cons, but, you know, we're the same people at the end of the day.
Yes, sir. Yeah, yes, sir. That's why we're close friends, and we've gotten even closer in the past year. So I'm excited for what's going to come for us and what's coming for the podcast and for you. And tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do.
So to tell a little bit about myself, my background is specified in finance and hospitality. The biggest thing was, finding the middle ground between the community and trying to monetize what you're passionate about. And that all comes to understanding the economy and the different monetary tools. I don't want to bore you with all the, the jargon, but long story short, I was always interested in the ability to make money and tools in the market. But my passion and what I do ties into the value I provide to my friends and the community via, the creation of music. It all goes back with my little brother. It was all an idea when we were teenagers, always on the Oxap parties, always trying to get the groove going, getting the people going, setting the tone and keeping it at that high.
And never coming down.
Until the cops came. But yeah, man, that all builds up to, graduating from high school. It was just high school parties at one point. But I feel like a good context for the podcast and you two would be a big inspiration was my mother. Ever since me and my little brother were very young, she'd do these crazy productions. Like one year was the Power Rangers, I remember, and she created a whole mural of the entire Power Rangers, and It was, next thing you know, these people are dressed up as the Power Rangers and everything.
I used to love I was a Power Ranger for Halloween when I was 4. So you already, I know that. Yeah,
so long story short, everything was to the T, and the attention to detail and making sure that everyone is having a good time, everyone's taken care of, and everybody, knows, where to go, where the restroom is, where the food is, and just making everybody feel welcomed. And that not only goes to the party she used to throw for us, but how she'd treat our guests coming over and spilling over to how you treat your community. And a little bit ties into my faith growing up. The whole notion of stewardship is big in the Bible. And that was something that really stuck with me, serving and giving back and not really expecting anything in return because, God, good energy is received with good energy. You give out you put out what you end up receiving at the end of the day. But going back to my career, that's a backstory on what inspires me. But mainly what I'm doing right now is really focusing on bringing the Latin and the house elements of sound to Miami, specifically reggaeton, Latin house, and creating an atmosphere kind of like what Space did back in the 70s and 80s. But right now we got the next generation of artists, of DJs, of producers, of, people just going into the market and finding where you fit in and all that noise and providing value. I can say that I found that in my passion, creating events. Last year I took the leap of faith with my team, and we ended up really legitimizing Sunnyset, and that all comes from me and my brother taking the leap of faith in 2020 during COVID, really deciding to lay down the foundations of our business, monetize what we were doing, because at the end of the day, you guys know that everything is an idea until it's written on paper, concrete, with a goal and something in mind.
Until you do something about it and you move and you do action, you make action, and then you start going up.
So take us back to the beginning, right? You graduate high school, you go to college. What were you studying in college, and when did music become? I know you and your brother always did music, but when Did you buy your first board? Like, how was that decision?
So yeah, a little bit of background. It's important because what really involved me into music was being a musician since I basically learned how to walk. My mom put us in classes. Both me and my brother and I were musically gifted since a very young age, exposed to orchestras, music theory, compositions, band, the whole 9 yards. Eventually, during middle school, I segued into more sports and, active activities, athletics. I kind of left the arts, and that's a part, if I do anything differently in my teenage years, would continue to nurture that artistic side of me, kind of abandoned it until I rekindled with it back in college. Reason being was I was big in the night scene, the hospitality scene with a lot of my fellas, and it was just all from being in communities like fraternities and local clubs. Eventually everybody, knew each other. It was like a buddy system. Yeah. The more you went out, the more you saw the common faces. Everybody,
the more clout you get.
Yeah, everybody, started getting together. Emotion. And that was honestly the first time where I was outside of what I would call the nest of my home. The majority of high school, my mom never really let me, well, it's not that she didn't let me. I wasn't just had the ability or the freedom to be exposed to like music festivals or like clubs down here in Miami. That was something that I was more exposed to in the later stages of my life. By design, of course. I wouldn't change it any other way. But getting exposed to the nightlife scene in college, I always had the dream of leaving home and basically spending 4 years outside of my hometown and meeting people from all over the world. I was able to do that at UCF. Great time. Yeah, baby. And then, there I basically met a lot of DJs, and going into UCF, we had that music background, as I mentioned, with my brother. But the turning point for us was right before COVID 2019. We legitimized the business. And then during all this time, the anticipation of everybody having to stay at home, all the, curfews that were in place. There was a lot of time on our hands, and people didn't really know what to do.
Nobody knew what to do. Everybody was
Yeah.
at home doing TikToks and dancing and wasting time while you were out working. You were legitimizing your business and growing and building yourself.
Yes, and the biggest thing that I learned throughout my career is, your network is your net worth. Spending a lot of that time, people decided, to stay home. Some people have different situations than others. I took that time to focus on the music. I actually bought my first board. It was DDJ SB3, super small standard Serato board. And then I looked up to mentors. I actually, as I mentioned, we got into the nightlife scene, and I ended up going the promoter route, event management route. But one of the big jobs, and what really, rekindled my love for the music, was having to find talent and book talent that could fit the part of the night you wanted to curate for the people, whether it be reggaeton, whether it be like Brazil funky night house, or like a tech night for the crowd. Having DJs who could play that versatility and adjust to the dance floor was hard to find. But once you found it and you understood how they were able to manipulate the crowd, that crowd control, and seeing how they were able to do that even to yourself, was something that was an inspiration, honestly. And there's levels to it, as I mentioned. Getting these guys as mentors initially, and just looking at videos and getting inspired by some of the top dogs in the game was kind of the turning page for me, and ultimately understanding the music conceptually and feeling it at what I would call the heart level.
And I've always known you personally to be a leader, so I want you to talk a little bit about the pressure of curating an event and being in charge and making sure the DJs show up. Talk a little bit about behind the scenes, what most people don't see and what they don't know about when it comes to putting an event together.
The biggest thing, since considering there's a lot of moving parts, is making sure that you and the team that is, making everything possible with you, because you can go fast. I go by saying, you can go fast by yourself, but you can go far with a group of people. Ultimately, to find success in the event business, you need a team behind you, inspired and bought into the vision of what you're doing. Just like any famous rapper or politician or businessman or even an idea, it's backed by a mastermind, that notion of a mastermind and people who are bought in on that same idea. And the biggest struggle was getting people to buy into something that didn't even exist initially. You're selling them on a vision, and that vision is something that you have to work towards every day. And it's not like you show up one day and decide, hey, I want to throw a party. Like, you have to do the whole marketing, the whole idea, what's going to make you stand out between, people doing what their de facto decisions of either going downtown or to their go-to bars, and taking the risk and spending their money to go to what you're going to do. A big part of that is tapping into your network, selling them on the idea, and giving something that the people need. At first, what I found was the missing niche in Orlando was that there was a lot of focus on hip hop, house music, but there was a missing element for my Latinos out there. I filled the gap. I found the demand in the market, and I provided that. Provided Latin house for college kids. It was a success. They still do it to this day. They rebranded, but leaving that legacy and seeing that you can create something that isn't accustomed to, a group of people. You expose them to a new sound, and eventually it gets adopted at the mainstream level. It goes and plays a big part into building, a night or a business or anything. Because at the end of the day, everything is a business. How you treat yourself, how you view yourself to the world, how you present yourself to your people in your career, to the people in your community. You always want to make sure that you're in a position to put people in the position to win, because any best business practice is it's win-win situations, whether it be in life or personal relationships. Always think about win-win scenarios. And one of the biggest things that allowed this success, to answer your question, was giving people situations where they can win-win, whether it be finding a DJ and tapping into their community and giving them a platform to perform their music and showcase their sound and their talent, or reaching out to people in the community who are the respective leaders of their groups, their tribes, and bringing them on board, offering opportunities to make money, right? For example, guest bartending or promoting, and them and their friends have a great time. Being able to recreate that organically, and creating those good memories, and following up with them after, making, hey, did you have a good time? Is there anything out of the ordinary that you didn't like? If anything, if you would have changed anything in the night, what would it have been? And just engaging in with the community and engaging with them when they're there is the road to success, because it's not like you show up and party. That's part of it, but that's once you've built that and nurtured it to the point where the party takes a life of its own. So yeah, to answer your question, yeah.
And I have a question, because a lot of people it's very common to be scared of doing things. And were you ever scared at times? And have you had an event that did not go as planned? And how did you deal with that? And how did you fix it?
Yeah, the biggest thing also, like everything's in seasons. You have the good times and the bad times, but it's being able to adjust during the bad times and realizing that, for example, in sales, like you have a certain sales strategy, but then it gets to a point where it's saturated and exhausted, and then you have to reassess your approach to what you're doing in your customer base. It's the same thing in business or in event planning or whatever you do in life. For example, in sports, a pitcher can throw at you, a curveball, fastball, sinker, slider, and you as a batter have to be able to adapt to that pitch coming in real time.
Yeah, no. Expect what's coming and know what's coming. And in baseball, baseball's 99% failure. You go up to hit 10 times, you get a hit 3 times, you're hitting 300.
Exactly.
You're hitting 300 and you're one of the best. Baseball's a game of failure, and life is about failure. Life's about failure, and you cannot be scared to go up and strike out.
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, there's been times where we struck out and the anxiety comes in, especially when you're doing a debut night.
There's going to be another
which is what we're leading up to. Funny you mentioned that. Like, we do have a little anxiety, me and my team, promoting this upcoming event we have January 24th. It's our first time booking international talent at that scale. I've only worked in my past with domestic artists, but flying people out of England, bringing them in here, showing them the Miami sound, and tapping in with the local community, as I mentioned before, is a strategy we're taking now. But in the context of the success I found before, you can only do the best of your ability and do everything in your power to know you did what you can to make it a success. And inevitably, if it's a flop, At the end of the day, you know that you did everything in your power to succeed. And there's been situations where that's happened, and it wasn't the outcome I wanted, but I know that I did everything in my power to make sure that it was a success. And tapped into every contact that I had, hit up every organization that I could think of for the night that we were doing, tapping in with everybody that I knew that's a regular to the place that they'd go there already, to get them to come again the following week or on another day where I'm doing my event. And just recreating that recipe, adjusting the formula when you need to, and just continuing to follow up with people. I actually read a book once called How to Win Friends and Influence People, and one of the chapters was the art of following up. The biggest thing in life is following up with people, whether it be a friend you haven't talked to in a year or two, giving them a random call, asking them about how they're doing, how their life is, and genuinely being curious. It goes a long way in nurturing relationships and letting people know that you're not always there to just call them for a favor. You're generally nurturing a relationship, and it goes full circle, because to this day I have friends that I've been friends with since middle school, and we won't chop it up for a couple of months, maybe a year, but we hit each other up when we're in town, or we see each other that we're near each other, and they'll be like, yo, what's up, man? Like we haven't even how can I explain it? It's like we never left, It's like he never left.
You never stopped talking to them. I have a friend like that, Bailey. Shout out Bailey Mantilla. That we wouldn't talk for a while, for a year, 2 years, and he's busy right now. He's in law school.
Yeah.
And we don't talk all the time. But when we see each other, it's like we never stop seeing each other. Like we saw each other yesterday. And we just rekindle, and we talk about the past few years in 10 minutes, and then we're back to how we were the last time we saw each other.
So, Chris,
something special.
Talk to us about the story of the farmer.
The farmer.
So it's funny.
Farmer.
It's funny, The Farmer. So I was reading this book written by Anthony Pompliano. He's a serial entrepreneur. He's one of the biggest influencers for Bitcoin. Shout out Anthony Pompliano. Regardless, he released this book called How to Live an Extraordinary Life. It's composed of 1 to 3 page chapters that were originally intended for letters for his children. But it turns out that he ended up writing these letters because he thought that before the age of 35, he'd pass away because of his lifestyle. Mind you, he was the type of guy to go 200 on the highway on a motorcycle with no helmet. So that'll go to
a guy right there.
Yeah, that'll go to show
guy.
how he was living life on the edge. So he wrote these letters in anticipation, anticipating the worst, but always expecting the best for his children, as lessons that he took from his personal experience that he could eventually pass down as written lore. People learn by writing and tradition. In one of the chapters, it talked about the idea of good luck and bad luck, and ultimately the philosophy of mindset. And to answer your question, the story of the farmer it's a parable about good luck and bad luck, and it goes a little something like this. So in the book, Anthony's explained this Chinese farmer who makes ends meet with his horse, who runs the plow for his farm in China, his rice farm. So honest man making an honest living. Next thing you know, one day his horse disappears. So his only tool, his only asset to make a living for his family that needs to make ends meet disappears. So the town is like, oh my God, like, this is horrible. Like, how are you going to live? Like, what's going to happen? Like, this is so bad. It's terrible luck that you're having there. And the farmer looks at them and he's like, maybe it's good luck. Maybe it's bad luck. I don't know. And, next thing you know, the next day, the very same horse comes back with 7 other horses. Next thing you know, you got the same town criers coming to the Chinese farmer's house saying, oh my God, such bad luck. They're now saying, oh my God, you're so lucky. You got these horses coming back to your house. You got 8 of them now. You're 8x your net worth there, man.
Yeah.
So again, he's like, maybe I'm lucky, maybe I'm not, who knows? Next thing you know, that very same day, the farmer has a son, and the son is playing with one of the new horses that comes. Next thing you know, the son breaks his leg. And the people are there. They're like, oh my God, you got these new horses and now your son's leg is broken. Like, that's horrible. And, as I mentioned before, the farmer looks at the people and he's like, maybe it's bad luck, maybe it's good luck. Who knows? Like, my son is alive. Mm-hmm. So next thing you know, the very next day, you get the military coming to the Chinese farmer's house because they're recruiting young men to go to war. And turns out that the son can't go to war because he has a broken leg. So what happens next?
What a blessing.
You got the people coming to the farmer's house saying, oh my God, you're so lucky. Your son didn't go to war. He's going to stay alive. Goes to show, it's the whole idea of how you view things. So things happen to people and they're like, oh my God, that's such bad luck. Like, I'm so unlucky. Like, why does this always happen to me? Fall into a victim mindset. Or you can take the mindset of, why am I being tested? Why is this happening to me? What do I need to do to make it different? Or what is life trying to show me?
So basically looking at the sunny side of things.
The sunny side of
Looking at the sunny side of things.
Speaking of sunny side, talk to us about the birth of Sunnyside Records and how did that come about? What was the inspiration and, what is the overall, ethos of the brand?
So the inspiration behind Sunnyside originally came up as an idea. It was...
it wasn't the Chinese farmer?
The Chinese farmer is a philosophy I've applied to the broader aspect of my life.
It's a good story.
Yeah, and how I view things.
Why they call me Kodak.
But tying into the sunny side for sure, it all started with a beach bash we did back in June of last year, or May, I think it was. It was late Q1, early Q2, 2024. It's me and a group of my buddies, and as usual, it's me and my brother, and we've always been like the backbone of our Gasket Productions, everything we do, but he really supported me in my DJ journey and making the productions and events possible. So it started with this pop-up over at Dania Beach. We had about 100 people there. We brought together like 4 or 5 different communities, had them mingle, intertwine with each other, which it's always interesting to see, bringing people, for example, from born and raised in Kendall, Florida, or like Homestead or Cutler Bay area, and then bringing like Miami Lakes heads and people from Broward and Fort Lauderdale together in a setting. It's funny, man.
And now you're bringing people over from England.
Yeah, and now we're tapping into communities from across the world.
How'd you get into that? How'd you get in contact with people across the world? So
this all started with Sunnyside. So answering Julian's question will tie into what you're asking, Chris. It came as an idea, and then we realized that the notion of community and bringing people together was something that really resonated with the founders of the organization and the record label. Eventually growing to scale, and this party, bringing the international talent, comes from little pop-up events that we've done, similar to the first one we did to the beach. We've done it at coffee shops. We've done pop-ups at Crandon Park, where Julian came and played with us when he started his music journey as well, where I met Chris. So the idea of these events bringing people together, and otherwise I would have never even been in the situation where I'd be on his podcast, thanks to the introduction Julian made to me in a musical setting where the whole purpose is bringing the community together. And
wait, really quick, it's our podcast. I'm always telling him this is our thing. It's us too.
The show belongs to the people.
It's the people, and it's our podcast. It's your podcast too. We want this podcast to be for everybody, all of our friends, all of our group, everybody to come on here and be able to tell your story and be able to give people inspiration and take fear out of the world and change the world. That's what we're trying to do. That's what you're doing, and that's what it's all about. That's what this podcast is all about. It's for the people, for everybody.
Yeah, but that's beautifully said, Christian. Yes. Piggybacking off what you said, the notion of community is a big thing, because if you're doing it for yourself, you only get so far. But if you do it for the people, it'll resonate so much further.
So much further. Look how far we've gotten already. Look how far you've gotten by giving, by loving and nurturing the people around you. And everybody wants to come to your events. Anybody wants to perform can come and talk to you. And you don't treat anybody badly. You treat them with love and acceptance, and you bring them in. That's why you're going so far. That's why we've been able to grow. We just started. We've grown a lot already. And it's something beautiful that we're doing here. It is something beautiful.
I'm 100% on board with what you guys are doing here.
Yes, sir.
Phenomenal job.
Awesome. So we're going to take a short break, but the next topic I want you guys to talk about is one thing I've always admired about you is your relationship with your brother.
Yeah.
All right. So when we come, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're actually going to put some clips from Zay. So in the intermission, we'll have some clips of Zay so you can see the live performance from tonight. But
guys, we're
when we
go
come
tonight
back
to Zay, we're gonna have a great time. We're gonna get litty. You're gonna see
when we come back.
Decide that you can see.
When we come back, I want you to talk about how your relationship with your brother has grown and how you guys have been able to, grow together and bump heads and still love each other and find a path that intertwines that leads to the same place of success. So let's take a short break, and then we'll be right back with Gasca.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yes, sir. We took a little long because I was trying to download some music.
Took a hiccup. Guy decided to download music middle of a podcast. Typical.
Yeah, it was already. It was already kind of done. Already had it, but took a little long. But
Basically,
it was only 10 minutes though. It was only 10 minutes because y'all ended at 30. Y'all ended at 30.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. We're good. Tell us your name, Bobby.
My name is Sebastian, but they know me as Gasca, producer, engineer, artist from Miramar, Broward County. And yeah, it's basically a little bit about me. You feel me? I'm very thankful to be here at Where You At podcast.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming. We're thankful to have you.
Been seeing you guys really hustle with that and like push that, and I really like that you put the community together. And like I'm all for showing love to my Cuban people. You feel me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It doesn't means barceros, pues.
Yeah, man, for real, bro.
So yeah, we've known each other. We've actually known each other for longer than we have. We met each other when we were in high school. I used to play baseball, and you played baseball too. And we used to train each other. And we trained each other. We used to train with each other, and it was fun. And we used to have to run like dogs together.
No, that shit was crazy.
And look where we are now. Crazy world.
It's a small world, bro. For real.
Yes, sir,
Everything happens for a reason, bro. And I'm blessed to be here again and be here with my brother and be here with you, and be able to answer any questions that you have,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And how did you start? We asked you how you started, how your career began. How was it for you?
For me, like starting with like my music journey.
Yes, sir. Well, let's tell us about your life. Tell us about the beginning, and then we'll get into how close you are in your brotherhood and how you guys came up together.
Okay, yeah. So for me, like it started with sports. It started with the discipline of sports and being able to be consistent at something, and that algorithm can be applied to other things. So, unfortunately, I wasn't really able to, like continue my sports journey. I got injured at a young age. Just took, cut it short. I played baseball like he was mentioning. And, from there, I transposed that, energy of discipline and consistency to music. And, again, like what my brother was saying for a while, like we've been doing this for a while, like, piano classes. He played the flute at a young age. I started playing piano at 6 and violin. Stopped around like 6, 7, and then didn't really get it into music until I was like 14, 15. But my brother's been doing it for a minute, and it's crazy because like he was the first one in theory, and then now like I still understand theory. So like I definitely want to see him come back into his bag in that because I feel like it can unlock a new element. But yeah, like again, we've been around music for a while, so using that energy of discipline and consistency through sports, I was able to apply that to music. And, I went to school. I got my degree in audio technology. I'm certified in Pro Tools.
Yes, sir.
And, like I record people. I've helped people sign to labels. One person, Snow Banks, her sign to C'est La Vie. And I've been, like just in that journey of recording artists and, like getting the insides of mixing and mastering. And, I've been doing that since I was like 17, 18, like, in studios. But I started the curiosity of doing that around 14, 15 when I really got injured and I wasn't really able to play sports. So that's kind of like how my journey tied into the music. And then, I started with trap, pop, R&B. And then, like little by little throughout the years, like that's what I got good at. I worked with a lot of local artists and, still grinding for a big placement. I've worked with low-key artists, 300,000, 500,000 followers. I don't have a Drake placement yet. That's what I'm working on and wanting to manifest and reggaeton placements because, I did just drop a song, Gastar. and be able to write and produce and also drop my own records, which I've been doing.
Yes, sir. Everybody go. We're gonna put it
Out
in
on the
link.
platforms.
On the platform, we're gonna put the link here so you can go listen to the song. And you gotta hear it. You gotta hear it.
Yeah, for sure. And then, so my journey started basically at age 13, 14 with the music again. And I just started pushing and learning piano. I know how to play piano. And, all the fundamentals of like production I know as well. And, being with my brother, he got his a board probably a year and a half ago. And, he's inspired me to even get on the board and stuff. So this year is really when the DJ stuff inspired me, but my brother's been doing this again since Orlando, since back in the day, with his little board practicing, and I'd always see him, go and do a transition, probably fuck up, it's okay, but it was always messing around with it, and then eventually he got a good board that I really liked, and then that's when I started getting better, and everything started tying in. But my brother's been doing this for a while, so he really had an inspiration with me with the DJ, which started in 2019 to 2020, right before Corona. He was really into it, so it's been probably 5 years, 6 years. And that's what's really inspired me to get now into the the events and into the DJ and the live festival production and all that. But my journey started at a very, very young age with the music, and sports was a way to, it kind of took me out of it, but music came back.
Sports gave you that discipline that you now have to be able to put your head down, not be scared of what people think. I'm scared.
Exactly,
I'm sure people have told you, have made fun of you, have talked down on you, and sports has given you that discipline, that aggression, that I don't care, because you fail in sports and you don't care about failing.
Yeah,
you don't
exactly. And then being a pitcher and having the highlight and the spotlight always, that's the same thing as DJing. You
love the pressure.
It's the spotlight. If it's not the same thing, in terms of the console and everything and DJing, but in terms of the aspect of having the spotlight, and it's just about breathing and of course practicing, running them laps, going to the gym, treating it like an exam, and really putting in them hours. You're gonna perform well when the time comes. So that's important. And if you don't do those type of things, then you will kind of set up yourself for failure. And I've been in those situations, so you got to just learn from them and be able to elevate.
Yes, so some people, break under pressure, but sometimes pressure also creates diamonds.
Yeah, exactly.
So what you say, you look at the situation, you look what's going on. You could pout and you could give up, or you could take the positive out of the situation and grow and get lemons and make lemonade.
The sunny side.
The sunny side, baby. The sunny side.
So yeah, my brother being able to get the sunny side and be able to bring a community together is cool, because he already did it in Orlando, so now he's doing it back down here in Miami. Yes, so it's cool to see that, doing it again, but differently. Because I saw him do it, and for a while I didn't go over there and see it, but then he gave me the opportunity. He gave me the opportunity to actually be able to even work as a promoter at his party. After he set it up, he had to go run missions and do things, and I was able to take that spot, and it taught me a lot about the nightlife, and still wanted to get more into it. The pay's really good if you get situated right, and he just knows how to do it, and I'm happy that we got this night, the 24th, and I feel like it's going to be a vibe, and it's going to be a start of something fire, so
everybody has to come on the 24th. What's the name of the venue?
Yeah, so Friday the 24th of January 2025, we're going to be hosting the Sunnyside debut party at Furia Midtown. It is a 3-story beautiful establishment designed by some very, very well-off Colombians who are going to...
So it's going to be fun.
Who have an action-packed night full of high, energetic dance music for you and your friends. So see you there.
Yes, sir. And one thing, you got to come out. I'm going to be there. We're all going to be there. Julian's going to be there. Actually, no, he's not going to be. He's going to be on a trip. But we're going to be there, and we're going to have a lot of people with us, and it's going to be a great time. So come out. You should definitely come out. And I want to get back to you guys. You hype him up all the time. When you talk about him, you're always talking about him. He asks you about you talk about him. We ask him about him, he talks about you. So you guys just feed off each other. You guys give to each other. You guys love each other. How has your success together helped you? It's been different together than alone. How has that? How has having a brother by your side, helping you, loving you, been different than other people?
I mean, I'm not sure if my brother wants to go first or I do.
I mean, for me, like, you know, speaking as a little brother, like he treats me like the little brother and like looks out for me in ways, you know.
And sometimes
Like-
he gets hard on you. Sometimes,
Yeah, I know for sure. Yeah, he gets hard, but
screams at you, but
realistically, like you know, he's helped me like, or when I didn't have any money,
It's
like
love,
you know,
it's
starting
love.
off, like he helped invest into my craft, and you know, like that's definitely something that was a blessing, and you know, it helped me like you understand quality and hardware and stuff like that. So, you know, from there, I was able to invest into my own stuff. You know, just from that, as like you know, like as I progressed as an engineer and a producer, like the hardware that he invested in initially, which is called an Apollo, a Twinfinity preamp, which is really good. It helped me understand a lot of like, you know, the fundamentals of music and basically like, you know, like quality and like what different type of hardwares could do. And then, you know, from that inspired me to invest into, you know, into my own hardware. So yeah, like I'm very thankful for that as well. And, you know, having him by my side has been like a support system, you know, like sometimes, you know, we bump heads, but, you know, he's always been there as a real one. And, you know, I'm always grateful to have him in my life, you know, like even just now we were bumping heads, you know, just trying to download some music, which is crazy.
I thought they were about to go to blows, honestly.
So
I was like,
for me, like, you know, it's all love at the end of the day, you know, and, you know, I just, I can't, you know, like it's like some people wish they had a brother. So like, I'm blessed to have a brother, you know, because a lot of people that are, you know, just like solo kids that growing up, like, you know, no brothers, no nothing, like they always wish they had a brother. And for me, I'm very grateful. And to have him and other, you know, have another brother and three other sisters. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Big family. Yeah.
Big family.
Yeah, but yeah, Chris, what you think, man?
We know they're a hobby. How is having your little brother by your side? How has that been huge in your life? Because you're an example. You have to be the one that you're the one that he looks up to. You're the example, and how has that been for you?
Well, I'd give a lot of me and my brother's relationship. I'd attribute it to our mom, Maria. God bless her.
How was your mom with you guys? Your mom,
She
seems like a very nice woman.
Yeah, she's an amazing, phenomenal woman. She did the job of a dad and a mom, just one person, single mom, raised both me and my brother. And with that being said, she instilled a notion of, you know, if I'm not on this planet anymore, the only person who's truly your blood is your brother. And that's kind of just stuck with me my entire life. Although me and my brother, you know, bump heads and stuff when we were younger, we used to argue a lot, but going into his adolescent years, and then the music and seeing him, I've always cared about him and want to continue to see him succeed and offer, as I mentioned before, platforms to the people that I love to succeed, and that all starts with your family. And at the end of the day, family always comes first for me. Regardless of everything, I always look out for my brother, wherever he is in life. You know, sometimes, you know, we're all human. We don't do everything perfect, but
you can say that.
I try to be the best brother to my ability. You know, I have my imperfections, but at the end of the day, I feel like I do everything in my power to make sure that the people that I care about, whether it's my brother, my best friend, my mom, are well taken care of by me and have good energy. And ultimately, I do everything I can to give. I'm a giver.
You have to be a giver in life. If you don't give, you don't receive. Yeah. And life's not about giving to receive, but when you give, you receive, and give with your heart, give with love. And when that happens, when you do that, you're going to see how your life changes and your happiness, your joy. Happiness is temporary. Joy is forever. Your joy is going to grow. It's going to expand, and you're going to feel it. And the energy that you put out is going to attract people and attract people to want to help you, grow. And we talked about tonight. We talked about your guys' brotherhood, your guys' family. Let's talk about your friends. How have your friends influenced you? How have you had to maybe get closer to some people or get away from some people to help to facilitate your growth?
Well, I can start from my experience from college, going to high school, and just kind of looking at all my friendships in retrospect. I believe that people come into your life in seasons, you know, whether it's a full year of summer or it's just a cold winter for 3 months or whatever the case may be. People come and go, but the people who stay there with you, you'll know who, and those are your real ones, and those are your real friends. We touched base on it earlier, the notion of not seeing somebody for a while and then seeing them again as if it was just yesterday that you last spoke. Getting to that point comes with nurturing a relationship a lot beforehand, and that's something that I've done with my circle of friends. As life goes on, things change. Some people are not in your life for whatever reasons, but regardless of people that do come into my life, and the people that have given me that love and that good energy, have reciprocated, have gotten that reciprocated energy from myself. And I'm close friends with the people I've been close friends with since elementary school and middle school to this day. My circle is my circle. And as life continues to unfold, I meet more and more people. Lucky enough, I came across Julian and Chris because of a buddy I met in college, because of a fraternity I was in, whose little brother I had recruited, who ended up being my pledge brother's front door neighbor. So
Small world.
And I met Julian. Because I didn't go to school with Julian. I was not even close to Julian. I had no friend like Bailey. Well, Bailey, Alfie, but really Bailey, because Bailey, Alfie era. But Bailey came to American Heritage. I went to American Heritage High School. Shout out American Heritage. He came to my high school freshman year to play baseball, and I went to his birthday party. He invited me to the birthday party, and there I met Julian, and I became closer with Julian. I became closer with Caesar. Shout out Caesar Medina. Yes, sir. Caesar Medina. But we had mutual friends. None of us knew each other. And I became friends with Caesar, and then I became friends with Julian. And then over the years, that was high school, 2018. That was when we met, 2017, 2018. And I created the relationship. We nurtured the relationship. We grew. And through that relationship, I was able to meet Yaska. I met you, and then we didn't talk for years after. And then and then look at that. Like
small world.
I came to the beach party, and I see you both. Like, oh, like brothers. And look at this. Look at
small world, man. For real, small world.
Small world, and it's the positivity because I didn't see. I didn't see it for years. Oh, when I'm cool, and I'm not gonna talk to him. I talked to you guys. I told you guys who I am, and there was love, and we've grown the relationship, and look where we are now. But that does not come without me being friends with Bailey, without me being nice to Julian in the party, me being nice to Caesar in the party, loving them, creating a relationship with them, then nurturing that relationship for years, meeting you years later, then nurturing that relationship, separating, coming back. It's if you are scared of doing things, if you don't want to talk to people, if you want to stay at home, you want to just be in your own little bubble, you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, that's true. You got to network. Network is your network.
You have to network, and you start by just stepping out and talking to one person.
Yeah, and then it's your circle. For me, like I've been blessed, to answer your question as well, to have a group of people that are inspirational, in my opinion.
That right now.
Like having my boy Smooth G at a young age, buy his mama crib, and I'm seeing that it's like very inspirational. Like getting that spotlight and be able to see my boy come with that vision and then keep me along the way as like his producer now. I shot a lot of viral videos, for him as well. That's been really cool. And then meeting other people through that I built a genuine connection. And my boy Will, you feel me? Putting on for the Cuban people. Yo, boy Will, he's got a subathon. Definitely want to tap, have you guys do a podcast live on stream.
We'll do it
for like an hour. That should be fucking crazy. But yeah, just like, being able to build genuine relationships with people that I've been able to meet myself, and then also through Gio, and like my circle is really small. He's part of my circle as well. It's not really that much people. And just having good people by your side that can move a community is important, because you can reach more people and you can get your message across the right way. And it's all about genuine interaction, and that's how I've always kept this since the start. So with all my friends, it's always been genuine, and like it happens to be that they've been role models and leaders themselves, like my brother, like me, So, God has always brought me to angels and blessings like that. So I'm very thankful to have a good group of friends myself. So, yeah.
Amen.
Amen. How have there been people that you need to get away from, that you've had to get away from in order to
Oh, yeah. Mainly like girls, to be honest. Like, like if you get too distracted, like, if you don't see a girl nurturing you, like, definitely I feel like it could be something that could take you down or distract you. And then, certain energies and certain people that, also males and people in my life that I don't feel have benefited me. Yeah, I've also separated, but it's all about your focus and what is it that you want to do, and like putting your focus into the right intention, because you can't focus a whole bunch of stuff and having people that are gonna take away and not nurture or give is not gonna be something that's gonna benefit you at the end of the day. So it's also understanding that and seeing what energies are giving and what energies you feel inside your gut that are giving you
energy
exactly.
Vampires.
Exactly. So with that type of stuff, like
yes, Dracula.
One of my boys who's a good friend of mine, it's all about like your circle, and if you're around the right people long enough, you're going to be in the good place, and if you're with bad people long enough, you're going to be in the bad place or in a bad situation. Doesn't matter if it's a male or female or who it is. You feel me? You just got to understand what's going to affect your energy and what's going to nurture it and keep the momentum going. So right now we got momentum, with the sunny side. We got momentum, everything flowing in our name. So it's all about bouncing off of that and doing more as we keep flowing, from doing this podcast to then seeing the event roll out. That's all momentum and that's all motion, So it's all about keeping that momentum flowing too, and that's what we're doing here,
An object in motion is easier to stay in motion.
Yes, it is.
Shout out Isaac Newton.
Motion,
real motion.
Where you at?
Real motion.
Where you at? Where you at, Dubon? Where you at?
Oh, the man.
Scoot over,
the man, Mr. Julian Dubon's going to come back.
Me and my brother going to share this mic for a little bit.
What time is it? Because I know we have to have a...
Let's wrap up. Let's wrap up here because...
we got an event to go to.
We got places to go. And apparently I know the DJ.
We got some... Oh, apparently I know the event setter, actually. And the DJ, and it's going to be great.
So, Chris, we talked about where you're at, where you came from. What is the vision for 2025?
So it's great you asked me that. I actually thought about it a lot. Yeah, sure. Thanks, brother. That's a real one right there.
Yes, sir.
I spent I spent the better last week of 2024 thinking about the trajectory I wanted to take, not only my life but my goals and my relationships and my relationship with God. Most importantly, this next year, and most importantly, it's getting closer to my community and my faith, being my spiritual community. Continuing to nurture my relationship with God. I ask Him to, open the doors and give me insight as to how He wants me to serve my community, and just really give me more insight on how He wants me to serve the world, whether it be events and hospitality or through music. Right now, it feels like that's what it is, because He's opening all the doors and everything is aligning. And that all started with prayer. But leading into that, I have goals of not only taking this party, the Sunday Side Party and Gasket Productions, and continuing to grow that business, but eventually turning that into a national party. Mainly, my main goals are to do an event in New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and either Charlotte or Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Yeah. So my goals is to take our party to those cities in 2025.
The world tour.
So one of the things that I was able to scratch off at the beginning of the year was booking international talent for the first time, which is something I was really excited about. So we did that with Mike Morrissey in the event we're doing January 24th. So super excited about that. And in terms of my personal career and myself, I have a personal goal of running a marathon in 2025 and reading at least 2 books every month.
Oh, wow.
1 to 2 pages every day.
Running and I do not get along.
The bare minimum. Whether I read, at least 10 pages a day, that's good. But the bare minimum 1 to 2, that's doable.
What's a good book for someone to start reading and just that wants to improve their life? Besides the Bible.
You mentioned
of
So
except the number one bestseller, the Holy Bible.
Amen to that. The best book I'd recommend for anybody would be either The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. It's a story about a journey in perseverance.
Maktub.
Or in terms of, a big topic we touched base on in today's podcast was the concept of energy and mindset, would be this book called The Energy Bus. It's basically a story about a guy who does a 180 in his career and realizes that the energy he brings is the ultimate underlying factor to his success and the success of the people around him.
That sounds like it was written by Kanye.
Yeah, I'm gonna hand it over to my brother now. He's gonna touch base on some of the goals he has as well.
Oh yeah, we have some stuff
my favorite book is the Universal Laws of the Universe. So I'll just read that. Study the Universal Laws of the Universe. They'll teach you a lot about life. I got put on an early age on the laws through Extentacion. I saw like a vlog. And then I actually started doing my research, and it really it makes sense, like a lot of the stuff they talk about. But in terms of my goals for this year is to put a lot of music out, reggaeton and house music, and a lot of reggaeton songs I'm gonna do, remix them into house, and curate reggaeton house events to bridge, what my brother wants to do, bring the Latin sound, the UK sound, and merge it together. And then do that, throughout other events here in Miami, and just connect with more people that I know, and do good parties and after parties for events, because after parties go crazy. Because think about it, like to grow and to be in a festival, it takes time, but if you're able to get like a slot and after party for a festival and have the people from the festival seeing what you're doing, that's another way to make stuff
people,
out.
The warriors.
The warriors, the elites.
The warriors that are the ones that really go out. That are in the afters. If you're not the afters,
just be able to, grow the brand, grow, Gasca Productions. I got my grooves as well, Sunny Sides, and just be able to, just really like put good music out there, and also music that comes from scratch, from the heart, from me, like be able to showcase that. And I got a lot of songs coming out. It's all the rollouts, all basically for the whole year is already set, so the music is going to be dropping. You guys are going to be hearing about it and be promoted and putting out. So, it's really like my goal is just to put a lot of music, because, you never know when that time comes for any individual. So if you're a painter, paint as much murals, put them out there, sell them, give them to people. If you're a musician, create, because you never know when that moment's going to come, when God's going to send you up. So make sure that people can really like hear and have something to see while you're here, and then while you're gone as well. So it's to leave a legacy, this year, 2025, like Gasca Bros, Gasca Productions, very blessed again to be here at Where You At Miami podcast. But that's basically what we're doing. We put a full intention to all that, and just really,
amen,
putting that message across for you guys. So
Christian,
basically what I had, Chris.
Why was January 26th?
January 24th.
24th. Why do we need to be there January 24th?
As I mentioned and kind of prefaced before, this is a culmination of a lot of months in the making, a lot of energy, a lot of different communities being brought together and looped in on an idea that's finally being brought into fruition. So if you want to see the footprint that we're going to bring into the Miami music scene, not only as an organization being Gasca Productions, but as a record label, Gasca Records, Sunnyside Rex, come through, because we're going to be rubbing shoulders with a lot of the A-list top hitters in the game, and we're going to be bringing you a lot of amazing sounds all of 2025,
people that make the music,
and for many more years to come.
Like real producers,
so if you ask yourself why you should come, is if you don't feel like spending $50 at space and being a sardine in the crowd, and you want to be with some normal
some
people,
real heavy hitters,
and some real heavy hitters, come to Furia, January 24th.
Come,
Friday,
come.
9 to 4 a.m.
And if you ain't there,
you're a square.
You're a square. Where you at?
That's all we got, guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Good shit. Atta boy. Attaboy.
You did good, bro. You did good.
You did fucking awesome.